Season 4 was never meant to feel like a simple continuation. From the very beginning, the creative team led by Shonda Rhimes wanted to shift the emotional tone of the series. Earlier seasons focused heavily on romance and grand gestures, but this time, the story moves deeper into personal struggles, quiet emotions, and hidden conflicts. This change was not random, it was planned long before filming even started. Writers spent months redesigning the narrative so that every scene would feel more intimate, almost like you are stepping inside the characters' minds instead of just watching them from a distance. One of the biggest secrets lies in how the story is structured. Instead of following a straight path, the season uses layered storytelling. That means scenes often have two meanings, one that you see on the surface, and another that only becomes clear later. For example, a simple conversation between two characters might actually be hinting at a future betrayal or a secret alliance. These moments are written in such a subtle way that they feel natural, but they are actually carefully planned clues. This approach makes the audience more involved, because you are not just watching, you are trying to figure things out. Another important detail is how the camera work was changed to match this new vision. In previous seasons, scenes were bright, open, and full of movement. But in Season 4, many scenes are filmed in tighter spaces with softer lighting. This creates a feeling of closeness, almost like you are part of the conversation. It also reflects the emotional state of the characters, who are dealing with more personal and complicated feelings than ever before. Even the way characters are framed on screen tells a story, sometimes showing distance between people. Even when they are standing close together, the writers also focus heavily on character growth. And this is where things get really interesting. Instead of showing big, dramatic changes all at once, they chose to develop characters slowly. Small actions, tiny expressions, and even moments of silence become important. A character looking away at the wrong moment or pausing before speaking can reveal more than a long speech. These choices are not accidental. Actors were guided to perform in a more natural and controlled way, which makes everything feel more real and believable. There is also a hidden pattern in how scenes are connected. If you pay close attention, you will notice that certain themes repeat in different forms. Love, power, trust, and fear are shown again and again, but in slightly different ways each time. This repetition is not just for style, it helps build a deeper emotional connection with the audience. It makes you feel like everything is part of a bigger story, even when the scenes seem unrelated at first. What makes all of this even more fascinating is that most of these details are never explained directly. The creators trust the audience to notice and understand them on their own. This is what makes Season 4 feel more mature and complex compared to earlier seasons. It rewards viewers who pay attention, who look beyond the obvious, and who are willing to think a little deeper about what they are seeing. And this is just the beginning of what's happening behind the scenes. Because once you start uncovering these hidden choices, you realize that every single moment in this season has a purpose, and some of the biggest secrets are still waiting to be discovered. The casting process for Bridgerton Season 4 was far more secretive and intense than many people realize, and it played a huge role in shaping how the story feels on screen. Instead of simply choosing actors who look the part, the team focused on finding people who could bring subtle emotion and depth into every scene. This season demanded performances that feel quiet but powerful, and that meant the auditions were designed very differently. Actors were not just asked to read lines, they were placed in situations where they had to react naturally, sometimes without even knowing the full context of the scene. This helped the casting team see how they would handle emotional tension, silence, and unspoken feelings. One of the most interesting things about this season is how unexpected some of the casting choices were. A few actors who auditioned for smaller roles ended up being selected for much bigger parts because they showed a unique screen presence. The creators were not afraid to change their original plans. If they felt someone could bring something special to a character, This flexibility made the final cast feel more fresh and unpredictable. It also means that some characters may not match what fans imagined, but that difference is exactly what makes them more interesting to watch. Returning cast members also went through a kind of transformation before filming began. Even though audiences are already familiar with them, the actors were asked to approach their roles in a completely new way. Workshops were organized where they explored their characters' past experiences, fears, and hidden desires in more detail. This allowed them to add new layers to their performances. Instead of repeating what worked in earlier seasons, they were pushed to evolve, showing growth that feels natural but still surprising. Another hidden detail is the amount of preparation that went into making every interaction feel real. The actors spent time together before filming, not just rehearsing scenes, but building genuine connections. This helped create chemistry that feels effortless on screen. For romantic storylines, this was especially important. The goal was to make relationships feel believable, not forced. So instead of relying only on scripted dialogue, actors were encouraged to understand each other's rhythm, timing, and emotional style. Language and behavior training also played a big role in shaping the performances. Actors were guided on how to speak, move, and react in ways that fit the world of the show, but with a modern emotional touch. This balance is not easy to achieve. Too much focus on historical accuracy can make performances feel stiff, while too much modern influence can break the illusion. The team worked carefully to find the middle ground, where everything feels natural but still fits the setting. Some actors even had to adjust their natural habits to better match their characters. Small things like posture, eye contact, and the way they walk were carefully practiced. These details might seem minor, but they have a strong impact on how a character is perceived. A confident posture can suggest power, while a slight hesitation can reveal insecurity. These choices were not left to chance, they were part of a detailed plan to make every character feel distinct and memorable. There were also moments where casting decisions were influenced by long-term storytelling plans. The creators were not only thinking about season 4, but also how these characters might develop in the future. This means some actors were chosen because they could grow with their roles over time. It adds another layer of depth to the show because the performances are built with a sense of direction, even if the audience does not see it immediately. All of these behind-the-scenes choices come together to create a cast that feels more connected, more real, and more emotionally engaging. It is not just about who looks right for the role, it is about who can bring hidden meaning into every glance, every pause, and every word. And once you start noticing these details, it becomes clear that the casting process itself is one of the biggest secrets behind the power of this season. The set design for Bridgerton Season 4 was crafted with a level of detail that most viewers never notice on a first watch. Every room, hallway, and outdoor location was carefully chosen and arranged to tell a story beyond the dialogue. The production team spent months researching historical estates, gardens, and interiors to ensure that each set reflected the social status and personality of the characters who inhabit them. But what makes Season 4 truly special is how the sets are layered with subtle visual clues that hint at the relationships, tensions, and secrets of the story. For example, a lavish ballroom might look like a simple celebration at first glance, but the arrangement of furniture, the direction of the windows, or even the placement of candles can reveal alliances or underlying conflict. Costume and set design were deeply intertwined this season. Color schemes and textures in the background were intentionally matched with the clothing of key characters, creating a visual harmony that reinforces their emotional state. Darker tones might be used in the corners of a room to suggest hidden danger or mistrust, while brighter accents draw attention to moments of vulnerability or affection. Even small details, like a chair placed slightly off-center or a portrait tilted on the wall, were used to symbolize instability or unspoken tension. These choices required incredible coordination between set decorators, costume designers, and cinematographers to maintain a seamless look while keeping the symbolism intact. Hidden Easter eggs are another hallmark of the season for sets. The production team deliberately included objects and props that reference past events, character backstories, or even subtle nods to the original novels. Fans who watch closely may notice